What's up, people of the world? It's me again, Alex Swimmer, aka AP3 Jumped, and welcome to another movie review. I don't do movie reviews, theatrical movie reviews very often. As a matter of fact, I only ever do them if I'm like really willing to do a review for a particular movie. Because so far, the only theatrical films that I've done reviews for were Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And so I haven't really found any movies to review since, because the reason I don't review movies is because I don't see every single movie in the theaters all the time. And sometimes I don't see movies in the theaters right away. So that's a big reason why I don't do theatrical movie reviews very often. I do TV movie reviews, but not that. So that's just a little bit of explanation as to why movie reviews are very rare on this channel. So today, I am actually going to review the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Yeah, so I'm really excited. So yeah, let's just cut right to the chase. And yeah, I literally saw it just this past Sunday, so I was able to see it opening weekend, although it technically first premiered on Thursday night, and then early screenings were shown even earlier in the week. But anyway, I was able to see it opening weekend, which I was planning on. I almost wasn't able to, but at the last minute, I was able to go see it. And I wore this shirt. This shirt's clean. So... I actually wore this shirt in the theater because I don't own any Sonic shirts, so I figured wearing a blue shirt would be just a regular blue striped shirt would be the next best thing. I own a couple of blue shirts, some light blue, some really dark blue shirts actually. But anyway, I hope to get a Sonic shirt one day. So, anyways, let's talk more about the Blue Blur himself. So, yeah, where do I even begin with this movie? It was actually first announced around 4 years ago. It was announced around October 2016. That was when we first heard that, that was when the movie was in talks of being made. And ever since I found out about its confirmation, like way back in the day, I pictured what the Sonic movie was going to be like and what it was going to look like, and I even sort of pictured some hypothetical scenes in my mind as to, what the movie was going to be about. I tried to picture a little bit of it in my head, and when we found out it was a live-action CGI movie hybrid, so, like a lot of movies are these days, the Smurfs, Alvin and the Chipmunks, yeah, y'all know the drill, but, so... fast forward to December 2018 is when I'm giving y'all a little bit of history about the movie itself before I get into my own thoughts. I figured that'd be appropriate. So yeah, December 2018, we got our first tease for the poster of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie with the new design. And, yeah. The silhouette, it looked very... let's be for real, it did not look good. It looked really weird. We were all immensely worried, and for good reason. And around May 2019, that is right around the time when Detective Pikachu came out. It was like May 1st. Detective Pikachu came out on like May 4th or 5th or something like that, and then the first trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was released on May 1st. 2019. And oh boy, I'm gonna need a cough drop for this. Yeah, I'm not going to beat this dead horse to death, but because yeah, it's already dead. It's been beaten. That horse has been beaten to death at this point. But yeah, that movie trailer was fucking horrendous, and what made it horrendous was a couple things actually. First off, Sonic's design in that movie. I think we can all agree that it looked like shit. And looking back at it now, it makes my skin crawl, that old fucking design. It just... yeah. I'm just gonna say right now, that old design, if they had actually stuck with that old design for the Sonic movie, it would have been unwatchable. I would not. It would have been unwatchable. Let me tell you. And a lot of the scenes in the movie would, a lot of the different types of scenes involving Sonic in the movie would not have worked and would not have had the same impact with that old, horrendous, gross fucking design. I don't know what the people who came up with that design were thinking, but I don't know what was going through their minds. The people who made that initial design. I even reacted to that with my little. I even had my little sister react to that first trailer with me, and we watched it for the first time, and both of us thought it looked weird. I thought it looked bad. Even even my little sister was put off by the design, and she said he looked like a realistic kitty cat, and yeah. So, needless to say, the design was shit. But luckily, the outcry was so freaking massive, not just within the gaming community, not just within the Sonic community, but the general public as well was you know, there was a large outcry from the general public. So that is what led Paramount to completely redesign and overhaul Sonic. And which, because of that, they actually delayed the movie, because the original release date for the movie was like November 2019, and then it got delayed to Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2020. And so, yeah. And then the next trailer came out around November, the same month that the movie would have originally released in, and saw the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer, saw the new Sonic design, and the design looks great. And yeah, so fast forward to the movie itself. I spent 7 fucking minutes talking about the history of of everything leading up to the movie, and what do I think of the movie? I think it was a pretty damn good movie. I loved this movie a lot. Now, yeah, I want to say, the whole shtick about video game movies being either really bad or at worst, or pretty mediocre at best. I feel like that has finally been broken. I don't know why I'm so lightheaded all of a sudden, but yeah, that trope finally got broken. And I believe, personally, I think the Angry Birds movie is what broke that trend. And the Angry Birds movie was among the first video game movies to actually be good and watchable and a good fun time. And then Detective Pikachu came out, loved that. I could have done a review for that, but I think I talked about it in a vlog, actually. I saw that with my little sister in the theater, and the Angry Birds movie 2 came out. Still haven't seen that yet, by the way, because I'm just behind on movies. And then finally saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And yeah, it was, let me tell you, it was as good as I thought it was going to be. Now, I wish, okay, I'm not really sure where to go from here for this review, so my thoughts are going to be all over the place. So yeah, the first half of this video was spoiler free, so I'm still going to be spoiler free for right now. I will let you know when I get into spoilers, so for right now it's completely spoiler free. I'm just going to give off my general thoughts. So yeah, this movie, it's, like I said, it's pretty good. It wasn't, as, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like this movie is more grounded in terms of video game movies, because, with all these other movies that involve a CGI character coming up from their world and through a portal into the real world, all those other movies have not been the best. I've seen the first 2 Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. Those were, I liked those, to be honest with you. I did not see any of the live action Smurfs movies. So and I understand why people think that formula is is if people don't really like that formula all that much. So, however, I agree with a lot of people in saying that it works for this movie. So, yeah, I gotta say, let me get into my next point. And what really makes me happy is that everyone loves this movie, and critics love it, audiences love it. Everyone I've seen on Twitter who's talked about it has loved this movie, and yeah, I love it too. You know, it could have had more like I wish it. I was hoping it had like a little more fan service, you know, and more stuff like from the Sonic series. But from what we got, this was a pretty damn good movie. I say that's how I rate this movie. It was pretty damn good. Great even if I dare say. I do think Detective Pikachu is I think it's better on a technical scale, and I think I enjoy that as a movie a little bit better than the Sonic movie because there's just more happening in the Detective Pikachu movie. Whereas this Sonic movie, it's very grounded. It's very grounded for a video game movie, and it's so yeah. I gotta say, what really one of the things I really love about this movie are the characters and the dialogue. And now let me get to the Sonic characters. Sonic himself, let me tell you, the new design saved the whole freaking movie. And while I was watching it, I luckily was able to repress the old Sonic design. While watching it all, I was not even in the back of my mind was I wondering what this movie would have looked like if it kept with the old design. I only ever thought about that after I saw the movie, and I was thinking, God, this like I said earlier, this would have been unwatchable if Sonic had his old shitty design. Because yeah, like I said, this new Sonic design looks great. Sonic is very expressive in this movie, and he's I love this iteration of Sonic. It's not quite as this iteration of Sonic isn't quite like the modern Sonic we see in the games. He's not as confident. He's a little bit more childlike. He's a lot more childlike in this movie. He's you know, because you know, in every version of Sonic, he's always, you know, he can't sit still, and he doesn't like to be. He always has got to go fast, and which he says in the movie, by the way. And so yeah, this iteration is he's not as confident. He's never faced Eggman before in his life in this point. So yeah, and like I gotta say, even though I wish Roger Craig Smith would have been in this, because I do think he's personally. He's one of the best voice actors for Sonic, if not the best in my opinion. But because when I found out that Roger Craig Smith wasn't going to be in this movie initially, I was very disappointed, to be honest with you. And I was very adamant about Ben Schwartz voicing Sonic. But now that I've heard him in this movie, and now that I was actually able to hear the new Sonic voice with an open mind, I really love Ben Schwartz as Sonic. He does a great job. He does a great job as Sonic, and there are times where he does try to sound like the new modern Sonic. Where he kind of sounds like Roger Craig Smith at times. He has that same type of voice. He has that same type of energy, and I gotta say, I really love Ben Schwartz's iteration of Sonic. He did a damn good job, and he's very well known for voicing. A lot of fictional characters who wear blue. So yeah, he voices he voices the blue duck from DuckTales. I can't remember Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I still can't remember which is which. And he also voices Leonardo in the 2018 Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, I'm glad he's been able to keep that streak. And one thing about Sonic, he has perfect energy. His personality is fantastic. He's a chatterbox in this, and he's always zipping around, and that's further accentuated in this. That aspect of his personality is, and there are times where Sonic is really heartfelt There's really heartfelt moments in the movie involving Sonic, and there are times where I really feel I really feel bad for him in certain situations. I'm going to get into minor spoilers now, so yeah. So in the beginning of the movie, Sonic he's been sent to Earth because they, there's actually this group of echidnas in the beginning of the movie that are chasing after him and want his power. Even at a very young age, he's like 5 years old or whatever in the beginning of the movie, and then his parental figure, who is this owl lady? I have no freaking clue who that is. Maybe maybe she's based on some kind of obscure character from one of the comics. I have no freaking idea who that even was. Nor did I know why why this echidna tribe was after Sonic. So this owl lady, I forgot her. She has a name, but I forget. But she gives this bag of rings to Sonic, and she warns him that he needs to go off into the far end of the universe where he can go into hiding pretty much and be safe from this tribe of echidnas. And so Sonic is reluctant to leave, but he goes to Earth anyway. He goes from living in Green Hills to the now cleverly named. He goes from Green Hill Zone to the now cleverly named Green Hills, which is a town in like the Midwest or whatever, or the East Coast. I can't remember what state it's actually in. But yeah, I feel like that's a really nice parallel, by the way, to Sonic's homeworld. And so, for the next 10 years, Sonic is living all alone in this cave, and poor guy, he's really lonely and he has every right to be. So, because for the past 10 years he's had absolutely no one to talk to. He's only ever talked by himself, because he's so fast, he's been able to do activities by himself, which honestly reminds me of Jerry's game, the Pixar short where Gary himself he's actually playing a game of chess with himself. So what the things that Sonic does in this movie, where he plays tabletop tennis by himself, or he plays baseball by himself, that reminds me of Jerry's game a whole lot. And it's at that point where Sonic, he's really starting to feel kind of depressed and kind of lonely, because he's had literally no one to talk to for the past 10 years, because he's had to stay in hiding, and that's why he's very lonely, and I really feel bad for the guy. And there are times where he gets completely knocked out. That happens like 3 times in the whole movie, where he gets completely knocked out, where he's like unconscious almost. And yeah, those scenes break my heart. And there's also the certain scenes like near the end that are pretty heartbreaking. And yeah, so like I said, I feel really bad for Sonic. If I'm repeating myself in this video, I apologize. Yeah, I'm getting tired, if you couldn't tell. So, yeah. When it comes to Sonic, at the end of the day, he's very fun to watch. And now when we get to the next Sonic character, Dr. Robotnik, my fucking god. Let me tell you, Jim Carrey, one of my favorite comedians of all time. I've loved Jim Carrey ever since childhood. I've watched lots of his movies, and yeah, I fucking love Jim Carrey. He acts very much like he did in the '90s. He's got the same spunk that he had ever since the '90s. He's still got those same springy, exaggerated mannerisms. And let me tell you, Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, fucking fantastic. Now, when I first heard that Jim Carrey was going to portray Dr. See, I can't fucking talk. When I first heard that Jim Carrey was going to portray Dr. Robotnik, initially I was like, huh? Because like he doesn't fit the role visually. He's one of the thinnest actors in Hollywood. So but when I actually saw Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik in the trailers first, and then once I actually saw him throughout the whole movie, I gotta say I freaking love this iteration of Dr. Robotnik. I kind of glad that they went with that classic name because they used both names actually. They used both his names, Dr. Robotnik and Dr. Eggman. So, like I said, I freaking love this iteration of Dr. Robotnik. It's because within the games, Dr. Robotnik, he's kind of a how do you say he's kind of a madman and he's kind of selfish and he's always putting others in danger for his own selfish needs and he's a genius but he's kind of crazy and it's been a long time since I've seen Dr. Robotnik within the game so it's my memories it's a little hard for me to remember how he is in the games exactly but I think Jim Carrey definitely nails Dr. Robotnik's mannerisms from the games perfectly, while also providing his own spin on it. So, in other words, this portrayal of Dr. Robotnik feels familiar, yet fresh. And that's what I love about it. The same thing with Ben Schwartz's Sonic, by the way. So, yeah, like I said, what was I going to say? And, yeah, so... I gotta say, Sonic and Eggman, they steal the show throughout the whole freaking movie, and I love their interactions. And going back to Jim Carrey himself for a second, there are times where he does try to sound like Mike Pollock, the actual voice of Dr. Eggman. And when he does sound like Mike Pollock, it sounds really it's really awesome when he sounds like that and quite convincing and yeah and shit I'm so you can tell how tired I am but when we get to the part where we actually saw this in the very first trailer but when we see Dr. Robotnik in his classic appearance. Because throughout the movie, normally he does wear a red suit and flies in a hovercraft very similar to the Eggmobile, and he also has his goggles in the movie, got his mustache. But once we see classic Eggman, which again was seen in the trailer, so not really major spoilers yet. So anyway, we see the classic Eggman design with the bald head, the goggles, and the really big ass freaking mustache, and the pink nose. Even his nose is kind of pink. That looks really awesome. And then it's at that point where we actually get to see a more classic version of Eggman. And Jim Carrey sounds just like Mike Pollock when he looks like that. And the only thing that sets him apart is Dr. Eggman, Dr. Robotnik doesn't have his body shape. So yeah, he's still kind of thin, but I think Robotnik does have a little bit of tummy, so he does have a little bit of weight put on him. But when we see that classic version of Eggman, it's like. It's fucking awesome to see that in live action because yeah, that was awesome. So I'm gonna get into the other characters as well. The other characters I did like a lot. I did like James Marsden and Tika Sumpter's characters. I did like them a lot, honestly. I cared about the other characters. I cared about the other main human characters in the movie, and so. Yeah, James Marsden. I haven't seen much of his work. Hell, I never even saw Enchanted when I was a kid. I wanted to, but yeah, James Marsden. He's a pretty good actor. He made a good impression on me, and even he can be quite expressive. He can open up his jaw like fucking like he has the widest fucking jaw whenever he screams in the movie. Yeah, that's pretty insane. So, and I also really love the dynamic between Tom Wachowski is his name. I really love the dynamic between him and Sonic. I really do. And it really works. They go from not liking each other at first, being questionable about one another at first, to becoming best friends by the end, and that works for this movie. Sure, we've seen that trope a million times at this point, but I really like how how Sonic and Tom's dynamic work in this movie. They have a really believable dynamic, and just it works. Unlike most movies that try to do this, unlike most other live action CGI movie hybrids that have tried to do this, I feel like this works really well, and their dynamic is really fun to watch. And Tika Sumpter, she was enjoyable as well. I liked her character a lot, and not everyone cared about the human characters, but I personally did care about the human characters, and so that's all I have to say about that, because this video is already too long. So I'm gonna get on to the next point. Now, what I love about this movie is the damn dialogue. Like, it's really, the dialogue is really good. The movie was fucking hilarious. There are things that lots of characters said that just cracked me up. The things that Sonic and Eggman said were real. Those jokes they said were really hilarious in particular, and some of the jokes that Eggman said caught me by complete surprise. And very inappropriate. Hell, Dr. Eggman even says hell at one point, where he's like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And so I guess PG movies are getting away with having cuss words in them again, because that hasn't happened since the Shrek and Ice Age movies. So yeah, I hope I gotta wrap this video up. So I gotta say, that I never, throughout the whole movie, I never forgot that it was a Sonic movie. Not everyone agrees with that, but even though it takes place mostly in the real world, I never did forget that it was a Sonic movie, and because it was brought to my understanding that most live-action CGI movie hybrids are mainly about the human character. That's not at all the case. This movie is about Sonic. This is his movie. And Dr. Eggman's movie. So yeah, the Sonic characters themselves really shine, and yeah, it's their movie. And the other human characters, they have their own plots, which are interesting to me personally. That's my opinion, but not everyone might agree with that. But I think the movie has pretty good pacing. Some people have said that the middle third of the movie kind of drags. I can understand why. However, the first act that opens up in Green Hill Zone, that's fucking awesome. I really love that. And the second act, while I understand why people think it's the slowest act of the whole movie, I still think that was enjoyable. Like, the whole bar sequence was really fun, and like, for example, the bar fight was really awesome. And then the third act, that was really cool. The climax of the movie was pretty damn good, because there was a showdown between Sonic and Eggman, and yeah, that was really fun. And there are also parts throughout the movie where Sonic is so fast that he is able to, like, freeze time, in very much the same way that Quicksilver can in the X-Men movies. I've seen other really fast characters do this as well. I've even seen Hammy from Over the Hedge do this exact same thing as well. Random example, I know, but yeah, I knew I was going to run out of space. But yeah, my favorite type of scene that involves that sort of thing is in the bar scene, where Sonic, he's able to pull off all sorts of stuff. He's trying to find clever and creative ways to shit. By the way, we're getting into major spoilers, so 1, 2, 3, we're in spoiler territory now. Just so you know. So yeah, in the bar scene, Sonic, he's able to pull off all sorts of elaborate stuff, trying to take down all the people in the bar. And that scene is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, honestly. And it's almost like a Rube Goldberg machine of sorts. And once all of that comes to an end, all of the fruits of Sonic's labors all come into play like all at once. And that's really freaking satisfying. Yeah, I gotta be honest. So, yeah, we're getting to the last third. We're getting to like the final act of the movie, and so Sonic winds up staying in Green Hill, and he winds up having a home, and he winds up living with Tom and Tika Sumpter's character. So yeah, that was a really sweet scene. So they had gathered all Sonic stuff from his cave and put it up in the attic, and yeah, so that's a really sweet scene, and so yeah. Like I said, we're in major spoiler territory now, so if you have not seen the movie, please click off this video. So we're getting into the part like after the movie, and we're getting to the part that has because Dr. Eggman, he was sent into the Mushroom Dimension, which is very reminiscent of Mushroom Hill Zone. I'm not sure if that is literally Mushroom Hill Zone itself, because that's never explicitly stated, but so when Dr. Eggman is sent there, he's able to it's at that point where we actually see him in his classic design with the bald head, the pink nose, the goggles, the little bit of tummy, I think, and the big long brown bushy mustache, and Jim Carrey sounding just like Mike Pollock. Yeah, so yeah, that part is really awesome. But turns out Dr. Robotnik still has Sonic's quill, so he plans on doing stuff with that. So, and by the way, that's how Dr. Eggman was able to keep up with Sonic, because he had obtained one of his quills from Tom, which he discovered earlier in the movie. So, yeah, that part right there was a very fun scene with Dr. Eggman. He was just stuck in the Mushroom Dimension, and he's just laughing maniacally, and now he's all alone, plotting his next move to defeat Sonic once and for all. So yeah, and then we get to the first part of the credits, where it replays the entire movie in the same art style as the classic Sonic games. That credit sequence is really fucking awesome, and yeah, even the backgrounds in that are meant to represent, you know, the actual locations in the movie resemble some of the backgrounds of some locations from the classic Sonic games, and I find that to be a really cool touch. And I gotta say, all the references and Easter eggs that are in here are really awesome. Like, there's even a Sonic Easter egg. Like, they have, like, because what's awesome is that Sega has incorporated Sonic as an Easter egg in their official games, and they even have him as an Easter egg in this. And there's even a part where Sonic says, "That's not good," which is based on "That's No Good" from the original Sonic cartoon. And like I said, Sonic also says, "Gotta go fast." And Sonic makes some, among other Easter eggs, Sonic makes some poses, and he makes some very familiar poses. He does this teetering animation from the classic Sonic games when he's in the motel, and also during the chase scene, he makes the same artwork pose that he makes in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But with an angry expression this time, so that's really, really cool. And then there's one part where he's running, there's a freeze frame, right? And that's actually the same as his artwork pose for Smash 4. He doesn't have his artwork pose from Smash Bros. Brawl, unfortunately. That would have been cool to like complete the trifecta of artwork poses of the Smash games that he's been in. But, oh well. So, yeah. The Easter eggs that were included were really awesome. So, yeah. And then, once we get to the mid-credit scene, there's not an after-credit scene, but there is a mid-credit scene. This mid-credit scene had me yelling, and this is the last I've ever yelled in the movie theater. We see a portal, we see a ring portal, by the way, and then Tails shows up. And holy fucking shit, that was really awesome when Tails showed up, and turns out he's looking for Sonic, and by the way, Tails, he looks fucking perfect. He looks on point. He looks exactly as he should be. He's nice and furry now, which is awesome. And the proportions of his face are a tad bit different, but his design is like exactly the same pretty damn much. And the way he flies off of the cliff with his tails as a propeller, that's really awesome. And turns out he's looking for Sonic as well. What's interesting... So, by the way, everything that I discussed, Dr. Eggman and the Mushroom Dimension, Tails looking for Sonic, as that definitely sets up a sequel perfectly. And hopefully, I'm not sure if they confirmed a sequel. They were in talks about doing a sequel before the movie even came out, but so I'm hoping that we'll get a sequel confirmed for this, because they had set everything up for a sequel. Like, there is lore for this movie that I'm very interested in knowing about, like the Echidnas. What is the deal with that Echidna tribe? Whatever happened to Sonic's caretaker? And yeah, so I'm hoping the sequel will have even more Sonic characters, because in this movie, I was really hoping other Sonic characters would show up. I was hoping Tails would show up at the very least, and he did. He's my favorite Sonic character, so that's fucking awesome. So if there's a sequel, that'd be really fucking awesome. I would love to see even more Sonic characters like Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Metal Sonic. So yeah, and where, you know, in this movie we have a cartoony character in the real world. Perhaps in the next movie we would have live action people from the real world into the video game world, Green Hill Zone and whatnot. So I really hope I want the sequel now more than ever. So yeah, I'm already thinking about what the sequel could be like. So yeah, because there's a lot of unanswered questions in this movie that definitely lend itself towards setting itself up for a sequel. So all in all, I think this movie is pretty damn good. I wish there was a little bit more like fan service and like content, but this movie was pretty damn good in my opinion. And yeah, I just love it, and I really want to see it again. I really am anxious for a possible sequel. Oh, and a random fun fact: while Sonic did not have his video game voice actor in the movie, turns out Tails' voice actor from the games reprised her role for the movie, so that's really cool. I wonder why they didn't do that for Roger Craig Smith, but oh well, that's whatever, you know. But anyway, all in all, I love this movie. If you're a Sonic fan, I highly recommend you see it. And yeah, this movie was a blast. I love it, and I love all the Easter eggs included. The dialogue was great. The character interactions were great. Sonic himself, I gotta say, he was pretty damn adorable. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So yeah. I love this movie. I really cannot wait for a possible sequel. Fingers crossed. There has to be a sequel. This movie has done very well financially, so we'll just have to wait and see. And I was able to see it opening weekend too, so that's awesome. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Like the video if you liked it. Ring the bell to be notified of future videos I make. Yeah, stay tuned for more videos. So once again, I'm Alex Swimmer, aka AP3Jump. Thank you so much for watching until the end. That's it for me, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye, and stay tuned for my 9-year channel anniversary on YouTube. I'm gonna do a video about that. So yeah, look forward to that. That's it for me. And I'll see you soon. Gotta go fast.